Well, welcome in, boys and girls, to Teal Town, USA. A little free-for-all Friday here, but this time we are joined from our friends at Let's Go Blues Radio. Welcome in, Jeff and Curt. Curt, how you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
Well, I mean, we have issues over here. We have some issues.
We're Blues fans. We've had issues as well. So I understand how it is.
Right. Jeff, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, hey guys. Good to be here. And yes, as I'll echo Curt, that we've definitely had our rough times. But I saw that Mr. Murray got the vote of confidence there in San Jose from the owner. So hopefully he can turn the ship around pretty quick for you guys.
Doug Wilson.
Wilson, did I say
Yes.
Murray? I always call him Doug Murray.
Yeah,
Doug
that
Murray.
was our defense.
Good old Doug Murray.
Jeff is new to hockey.
Yes. Yeah, I've never actually watched a game before. I'm a big baseball fan.
There you go.
It's about the same.
That's right.
Yeah.
About the same pace.
So, as we know, San Jose hosted the All Star game last season. This year, just a week ago, St. Louis held the honor. So I thought it would be fun to maybe compare some notes here about the experience, because definitely some good things and definitely some not so good things. So let's just start off with the fanfare. And I'm interested to know, because when it was held here, some pretty decent lines going on. We'll get to the prices for how much a puck costs in a minute, but I just want to know, how were the lines? Did they go relatively quick? And I'm assuming that they had a lot of the same stuff that we had in San Jose, where it's, wait in line and you can take a photo and get your own hockey card, or you can, shoot a ball at through a tire to try to win something or stuff like that. So, I mean, Curt, go ahead.
I imagine we'll probably have a lot of similar stories. It really depended on, and Jeff and I went on different days. You went on Friday, right, Jeff?
Yes, right before the skills competition.
Right, and we went on Saturday. My daughter and I, Zoe, who's behind me here, we went on Saturday, and so we went early, and we got there at 10, which wasn't too bad, but lines were long. We did a lot of waiting, but it depended on which event you did, depending on how quick the lines went. A couple of things didn't have lines at all. But the cooler things, yeah, you waited in line for half an hour or so plus. Lines for the Stanley Cup, rumored to be 5.5 hours plus. It was nuts. We made a joke on the show about how you could have flown to Toronto, the Hockey Hall of Fame, spent a half an hour with the cup, and then flown back and been back before.
With the distance between Toronto and St. Louis, that is an actual statement. Like, you could actually have done that.
Well,
assuming there's no delays at the airport and whatnot, but yeah, that was kind of fun.
Which there will be, because there always is.
Well, but let me ask you this, though, because that is something that was also a feature here at San Jose. Is they had a nice, huge stage and a line that you could go up and take your photo with the cup, but they had kind of I don't know if you guys have been to Disneyland or whatever, but they have that kind of fast pass thing where you can just go up, they'll give you a ticket or something, and then you can come back 2 hours later and the line's so better line. They
had the same thing apparently, and with the app here, but the problem was where the event was held. One, the app wasn't working because we couldn't get any Wi-Fi signal. Lucky for me, I have the area it was held in. I actually had a meeting there recently, so I was able to. I had access to one of the conference room Wi-Fi, so I was able to connect to that. But even then, I could not. By the time we got there, it had said that it was already booked up. There was no times available. And then we've got a fan of our show, somebody who's pretty well known here in the St. Louis Blues Twitterverse, Stanley Cup Tracker, STL Cup Tracker. Is that her name?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
She was tweeting that apparently people were walking in first thing, even on Thursday when it was the least amount of crowds, and signing up for that app. And then they would show up at the time it gave them, and they'd say, yeah, sorry, even though you did that, we don't have time for you. So there was apparently a lot of issues with that.
They were telling people to go as soon as you entered for Fanfare to go and immediately sign up for a time to see the Cup. And people were saying online that it was already sold out or there was not taking any more. So it was really crazy. And I felt so fortunate because my daughter and I and my son, we went to go see the Cup earlier, like a couple months ago, and it was a different deal, and we were in line 15 minutes, and we saw the Cup, spent 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds with it, a couple pictures, kissed it, and moved on. So I was so glad we did that as opposed to waiting for hours. So we didn't even bother seeing the Cup at Fanfare since we had done that, and we wanted to see other stuff there.
Yeah, same with me. I was lucky enough to be involved in an event where the Cup was in a very private area, and I was able to walk up, literally wait in line for 5 minutes, take my picture, and move on. So I was lucky enough to already have seen the Cup after the Blues won it as well. But at the same time, it was it was annoying because my wife had never seen it. So I was excited to get her there. We got there as early as we possibly could and get her to see the Cup. And, but like I said, by the time we got there, they wouldn't even take the fast pass. And the line was up to 5.5 hours. And we both wanted to watch the skills competition. Otherwise, if we would have stayed in line, we would have never seen the skills competition.
And there was there was an issue too that did they do the timed entries in the Fanfare last year in San Jose? Like you had basically our entry was 10 a.m. To go. And so we went there at 10, and we could stay as long as we wanted. But so it was like a time release entry kind of thing where they would sell out. You couldn't, once so many tickets were sold at 10 o'clock, that was it. Then 11, 12, and so on. But people weren't leaving. So it was okay earlier. It wasn't ridiculously crowded earlier, but as 11, 12, 1, 2 came on, it was like people weren't leaving, and there was just so many people in there. Bill, co-host of the show, he got there about 1, and we were still there.
Tickets were at 1.
Yeah, we were still there, and he was like, "You're still here?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, there's lines a half an hour long for everything almost. So I mean, we didn't leave. The trophy room was fine while we were there. It wasn't too bad. We had got to walk around and see all the trophies without any issue with except for the Cup. But there was, I mean, we didn't live some things. It wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't Disney World bad, but it was, I could see where later in the day, afternoon, it was getting pretty bad. Pretty bad.
Yeah. And with Friday, with me, that the day I went, and keep in mind, I think you guys probably had the skills competition Saturday and the game Sunday, right? There in San Jose.
No, it was the same as you guys this year. The last year was when they, if I remember correctly, is when they bumped it up. So we had skills Friday night and then game on Saturday.
Okay. So probably some similar people, if they had a Friday tickets like I did, similar situation. It wasn't that bad. When I walked in, it was terrible. Couldn't move. There was no elbow room. But then by the time we moved out, like Curt said, you kind of kept moving forward. You go to like the trophy area and where they had a couple other things set up, and it wasn't so bad. But by the time like 6:15 hit, people started heading out to the skills competition. So things started freeing up a little better. But like I said, the only thing there was no way we could get to was the Stanley Cup. And that was a shame because, again, for my wife, she was just like, I just want to see it. I don't even care if I get a picture with it. I just want to be able to see it. And so we asked one of the guards, hey, because it's kind of like in this back corridor area. And I asked, like, hey, man, my wife's never seen the Cup. Can we just kind of like get somewhat close to where we can see it? And he just shook his head. He's like, I'm sorry, man. Can't do that. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah,
it was just.
Well, I was just going to say on our end, I don't remember there being time release tickets. It was just kind of, if you bought a ticket for that particular day, didn't matter when you showed up. There were, at least for us at the convention center in San Jose, it's a pretty large room. So the Cup was kind of at one end, and next to it was this kind of roped off area. I mean, you could still get into it, but it had all the several NHL trophies in nice lit cases and everything. So you could look at all that, whether it was the Lady Byng or Conn Smythe or whatever, they had all the different trophies to look at. And then of course in the corner, at least here, they had the huge Fanatics footprint sales area thing.
Right.
But the other thing that we had, at least with us, is there were a couple. I want to say the card company Upper Deck had
Yes.
some. They had a little spot where you could take your own. You could make your own card, which I did, of course.
Yep.
Oh,
nice.
Sexy, like it.
Did my.
Well, he's a good-looking guy, so it's natural.
Thank you. But they had like Owen Nolan there signing for like maybe an hour, but then they had some random other people. Wow, you're not going to let 2000 go, are you?
No,
never. The cup doesn't heal that kind of thing either. It's weird.
No, it doesn't.
But you had that. There was another area where like Jeremy Roenick, it was like some beer thing that they had set up.
Gross.
Yeah, but then they actually had like a signing table where you would wait in a squirrely line and you'd get your one item autographed, no photos. They were very adamant about that. It's just a signing table. And then there was another area, I forget what they called it. It was something like not the concert area, but it was just a stage where they would have random people, whether it would be your local announcers. Like here we had Randy Hahn and Dan Ruzanowski do some Q&A. There was some other people throughout the NHL that did a Q&A. But I want to get to the one part just because I see the little person over Curt's left shoulder. What were the lines like for her? What did she get to do? What was her favorite thing to kind of take part of?
Go ahead, Zoe. It's your show.
Zoe.
My favorite thing I think is when my daddy almost won 2 tickets to the All Star game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's the sauce master.
They had a sauce
Sounded
toss.
perverted.
No, it's actually is my high school nickname. But they had a sauce toss game set up, and 5 pucks in a row got you 2 tickets to the All Star game. And we got in line, and she was all about, oh yeah, you got to win tickets, And I'm like, I'll tell you what, I guarantee you, I'll get 5 in a row. I'm not going to guarantee you I get 5 in a row right now. I could get 5 in a row. Because it was like 20 feet apart. Did you see it, Jeff? I mean,
I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was doable. And I asked the guy, I was like, how many people have done this so far? And he goes, 2. The guy who won the accuracy competition at the skills competition last night, and some college hotshot guy, local guy who won it. And that's it? 2? Is yep. And this was Saturday, and so it would have been going on Friday, and or I guess part of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm like, geez, why is that so hard? And I got up there, first 2, and then third one hit the post. I got cocky at it, but whatever. It was doable. I don't know why.
Oh, Curt, tell him why you didn't hit that last one.
I hit the last one. I missed the third and fourth ones. I didn't stick handle. I didn't stick handle. Any hockey player, I tell you, you grab a puck, you stick handle and you shoot. Stick handle, shoot. Bang, 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 shoot. First 2, I did that, scored. Third one, I got cocky. I just got it and shot, and I hit the post. I'm like, why did I do that? That was just stupid. So I'm sorry, Zoe. We didn't get to go to the All Star game because I got cocky. But no, and she shot too, though. You shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you get? We got 1 in, didn't you?
No.
Okay.
No. She didn't get what she got none in.
Okay. Wait, I know. I saw we lost Jeff for a minute there, but
Yeah, I'm back.
yeah, we didn't have anything like that. We didn't have a sauce toss or any way to win tickets at our event, but yeah, it sounds like a lot of the same thing where the lines were just insanely long. At least they tried to, with the time release thing, at least try to manage it out. I did notice, because I went to the fanfare all 4 days.
Oh, wow.
I did Thursday, Friday,
Look
Saturday,
at you.
Sunday.
Wow.
Well, it helped that I had a media pass, so I was able to just kind of slide in through the back
He's
door.
a celebrity too.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody in San Jose wanted pictures with them. And, I mean, you saw that hockey card.
I know, right?
Like I said, I saw it. I'm still seeing it.
But it was, we had a lot of fun playing the games. But I will say, and we'll let's hop on this for a hot second. The it was, God, it's just a massive hall, the convention center. Well, let me ask you this too: how far from the Blues Arena was FanFest?
It was a block.
It's a block, yeah.
Yeah.
Just that? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was real close because St. Louis, it's Union Station is literally literally a block from Enterprise Center. And that's the best place to hold it downtown.
It really was, because Union Station is more or less, that portion of it's abandoned.
Yeah.
So it was vacant anyway. So they're working to get things in there, and the aquarium went up and a part of it and whatnot. So it's coming around. But yeah, it was easy to, and it was nice. It was really, I mean, it wasn't real big and wide and like you described yours, AJ, last year, but it was more narrow, I guess, and long. But I think it was fine. I mean, especially early on. Like the time release thing was great for those who showed up early, because you only had people for that time slot. Later in the day, you had 3, 4, 5, 6 time slots worth in there.
Well,
yeah, and for me, for Friday, like I said, we didn't have a time release on Friday, and I'm pretty sure Thursday didn't either. I think Saturday and Sunday are the only days they did that. But for Friday, it was fine. Like I said, you walk in and everyone's kind of always, it's kind of the nature of people. They're always kind of crowded there at the front. But the further back you went, there was so much space to breathe and move around. And they had a lot of the events set up back there. So we were able to go back there, and they had like a truly hard seltzer area where like you could play bubble hockey. We did that for a while. And it was kind of hidden in the back, which was kind of nice. Curt, did you end up doing the bubble hockey at all?
No, I saw it. I didn't. We were doing other stuff.
Yeah, you went back there, and literally the whole time we were back there, probably 15 minutes, there was maybe 10 other people the whole time we were back there. And there was like maybe 10 bubble hockey set up. So it was like, this is great. We could spend all day back here because I love bubble hockey.
Well, did you do the, I assume they had a harder shot there, AJ, in San Jose last year?
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, and I'm not sure who was quote unquote manning it, but it was 2 flat or 2 tires laid, on their sides, and then a tire, in
tires?
the middle. Yeah, and so there was a tire, sitting. Here, let me grab a puck.
I mean,
it was basically a tire sitting on this, obviously the white area would be the hole. But you could do 2 shots any way you wanted, wrist or slapper, didn't matter. And they would track you with the radar gun. But then the third one, you had to do a slapper, and I forget what the prize was, but if you got it through the tire, you would get something, and I don't think I saw anybody get it through the tire.
That's okay. We shot on a goal, and they gave us 2 shots, and they had the gun up there, and that was it. They had the fastest times down. I think 90 was the highest when we went, and it was like the next 4 were 89, 88, 87, 86. Yeah, and
I had hit 125 the day before.
Right.
But they didn't want to put that up.
Right. I heard it didn't register, but the one guy said it had to be 125.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My daughter did the hardest shot, and what'd you get, Zoe?
It was 22.
She had 22,
yeah.
So that was pretty good. We had never timed her shot before, so that was interesting.
Well, what was that her favorite, or did she have something else that was her favorite event?
What's the most favorite thing that you did?
The most favorite thing that I did, it was either the hardest shot or the 5K. The 5K.
Oh yeah, we ran the 5K that morning.
She ran the 5K. I didn't. Yeah. I sat that one out. So good for her.
She did great.
Nice.
That great.
I beat Daddy.
She beat me. Yeah,
you beat him. Oh my goodness.
She was a good 20 feet in front of me, and she beat me. So yeah, it was that was an eye opener. I gotta step my game up.
Step your game up, boy. Jeez.
Well. So what did you? Okay, so the Fanatics, like I said earlier, they had a big presence in the corner. At least here, I'm sure they had a big presence there. And when I went on Thursday, the first night of FanFest, when I made my way over there, and I'd probably been there for maybe an hour or so, they had, at least here, they had the theme was emoji. It was like if you look at the patch from the game, it's supposed to represent like a computer app. It was supposed to be, it's in the Valley, it's in the Silicon Valley, technical, blah, blah, blah. So they had emoji pucks for all the different players that were going to be participating. And within, I think, 90 minutes on Thursday, all sold out for Erik Karlsson, Joe Pavelski, and Brent Burns.
Wow.
Had everybody else, but all sold out of that. Then, if I remember correctly, they also were, I think they still had some Brent Burns jerseys left, but Karlsson and Pavelski also completely sold out. And that's the way it was for the entire weekend after that. They never brought in anything else. It was just like, this is the stock that we brought. We didn't take into account that, maybe we want to add like an extra 40% of stock for the hometown crowd. Like you would think that maybe there's going to be like some extra, St. Louis stuff when they're there this season. Did you guys see anything like that where like St. Louis stuff was sold out, but they had tons of everybody else?
So again, I went on Friday and I didn't see any issues at all. There was jerseys, there was T-shirts. My wife got a Bennington All Star T-shirt. I got a hat. Got my son a bunch of stuff. No problems, anything with anything sold out. The only thing I heard, and Curt can speak to Saturday, I did hear Sunday there was a lot of things they were out of, but that's kind of a given when you go after the All Star game.
Yeah,
on Saturday they had a lot of stuff there still. It was I saw a ton of jerseys. I didn't check to see who. I mean, there was I saw a couple Benningtons there still. I didn't check. I know Tarasenko is the second hottest selling jersey this season so far, and I didn't check to see. Did you see a Tarasenko jersey there, Zoe, at all, or did you notice one?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think there was any.
I didn't notice any. Wasn't looking for one, but I didn't notice any. But so maybe that one was sold out. But they had a lot of stuff there. It was pretty expensive too. But there are a lot of people in there buying stuff too. So I don't know.
I guess they learned from their mistakes because AJ, we had you on. We had you on over the summer, AJ, and we talked about this a lot with how much people had to deal with sold out items, and so maybe the NHL actually learned their lesson and made sure that didn't happen again.
The $40 puck, which you brought up, which I complained about on Twitter, and I know you saw. It was it's insanely stupid, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that again. But here it is.
There's about a 15-minute rant on our show about the $40 puck.
Yeah, it's right here. Whoop, there we go. And it's nice puck. Got the logo on it. And I told Zoe as we're leaving, I said, you know what? We hadn't been in the shop yet. Before we leave, I'll get you a puck. And I was expecting. Normally a puck will cost you like $12, something out of the game, a logo puck, whatever. And so I figured, I'm sure it might be 20 tops. Hopefully, go in there. And I'm like, no, we're not going to buy it. And I was so proud of her because she goes, that's a lot for a puck. And she didn't press me to get it there. I'm like, thank you, because we'll just go home and we'll go online and get one. I did $16. I'm like, psh. And it came, and the one at Fanfare didn't come with this nice case either.
Yeah, it came in like a tin container.
Yeah, black puck shaped tin. That was what it. And so yeah,
like you brought up on the show, Curt. Like, again, why would you want? I mean, if it's like, oh well, the tin is going to be part of it, so that's expensive. You're going to want to display the puck. So if that has anything to do with it, that's a terrible excuse.
Yeah, the tin's going to end up in a drawer somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was for me it's like I figured that the prices are going to be slightly inflated.
Sure.
You had to have that.
Sure.
But just the fact that they ran out of stock so quickly, and it was not only did they run out of stock at Fanfare, and I don't know if you guys had this in St. Louis, but here they also had like an 18-wheeler truck outlet that was kind of like halfway between the convention center and SAP Center, because here, you said yours, it was like a block away between Enterprise and the Fan Fest venue. Here, I think the convention center is probably about mile and a half away, so decent walk. But right in the middle of Cesar Chavez Park, which is just a few blocks away from SAP Center, they had basically a store on wheels, and even the stock on this quote-unquote store on wheels was pathetically inadequate.
So, I don't think they had that in St. Louis, right, Curt? Did you see anything like that?
No, I did not see that, no.
Yeah. Well, either way.
I'm sure it's because of the distance between the two venues.
I can see that. And, and if I remember correctly, when this whole thing begins, Fanatics takes over everything. So you can basically blame them for everything, which I do and which I will continue to do until the NHL and the Sharks get out of this ridiculous contract. Moving on
I'm with you.
So moving on to the skills competition and everything like that, what'd you guys think about the Shooting Stars, with the exception of who won it?
Go ahead, Curt.
No, you go ahead, Jeff. I only caught bits and pieces of the skills competition.
So I caught it. And I, we were talking about this on our show as well, and Bill brought up a good point. The co-host that's not here. The idea is great. I loved it in terms of just the way they went about it. It's a different idea than we've seen before. And it's interesting to see these guys' kinds of accuracy. But the issue was, I think they needed to raise the targets to be a little bit more vertical, and kind of align with where the guys were shooting from rather than flat on the ice. Yeah. Because it made it was so confusing when guys were shooting and hitting the outside post, like especially on the 10-pointers. Mm-hmm. And it was just, okay, did that go in or not? Are they going to count that one? And it was a questionable move every time. I don't know if you've looked back now at the stats, but if you remember the final, the little showdown at the end was Kane. Oh, who was the other guy? It was Kane.
Was it Marner?
Marner, and they had O'Reilly again. But if you look at the stats now, they didn't credit O'Reilly with that last 10-pointer because it hit off the post if you watch it again. So even the stats now show he only had 14 points. So he didn't actually deserve that last shot. So it was just confusing. I
liked it. It was something new. Like, good idea.
They just need to execute better.
Yeah. Good idea. Not the best execution. I like that the players, actually would walk up through the crowd and they were throwing out shirts and hats and whatnot. The one thing that scared the hell out of me is when they brought out, Brett Hull. I was like, dear God, please be sober. Just don't.
All of St. Louis was holding their breath at that point.
Oh, I was like, don't fall off that platform, please.
Did you see what Berube did with Hull on the bench?
No, what happened?
They were talking, and then Berube is on camera. He hands Hull a stick of gum.
And Hull, I did not see that.
Hull grabs the gum, and then Berube's talking to, I think it was the official or something. And Hull's like trying to get Berube's attention. He's like, What do I need this for? What's this for? So I'm thinking he may have had some alcohol in his breath or whatever.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Be flammable if you're near an open flame. What did you guys think of Hurdle donning the Bieber mask? Since I guess
loved it.
I guess Justin was supposed to be there, for some reason wasn't able to make it, so they went up to Hurdle and asked him if they thought this would be cool, and he said, Hurdle's up for anything. He's such a
you know about the bet between Binnington and Bieber, right?
Yeah.
So
it's 10 tries, right? And if he just gets one, Binnington has to donate to Bieber's charity. But if he doesn't get any, Bieber has to donate the money.
Something tells me either way they're both going to be donating. But either way, it's a cool idea. And I heard that is still going to happen. That's still in the works. We'll probably see it, I would imagine, probably over the summer. But that was fantastic. I said this on our last show, that I've already liked Tomas Hertl. I think he's a hell of a hockey player. But when he did that, he gained mucho respect points from me. I thought that was really funny. And just, and it played to the St. Louis crowd too. He knew the crowd was going to eat that up. So that was just a really awesome moment, and something, you look back at like Ovechkin with was it Kane with the superhero, the Superman cape in the breakaway challenge. That's something that you're going to see clips of for the next couple of years. I think that's a beautiful move.
Yeah. I liked what Hertl did 10 times more than what Kane did.
Hertl's way cooler than Kane.
Maybe it's my bias against Kane, but the Superman thing, I get why people like it, but it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it.
Well,
what I didn't like about that one was the fact that it was an exploding puck, Brian Elliott was in net. What if one of those little pieces went through Elliott's mask? Well, that could have been a serious issue.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
I like the skills thing. I like it when they're allowed to show their personalities a little bit. You remember like PK Subban throwing on the Yager mullet wig?
Loved that.
Right?
That was great. That was fantastic. He even stick handled like him. It was fantastic. Yep.
You had Brent Burns with the whole video montage of him turning into Chewbacca, and then they bring the lights on, and he's wearing the Chewbacca mask. So yeah, I like that they're able to show their personality. I thought that was a lot of fun. But the other thing now. Okay, now you guys are St. Louis guys. I want to know if you guys felt the same way, because we were kind of giggling a little bit here when they announced Wayne Gretzky, and they're like, former St. Louis Blue Wayne Gretzky, when we're like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
didn't he play there for like 3 months?
We wear it as a badge of pride to a certain extent. Oh yeah, Wayne Gretzky's a former St. Louis Blue, but the thing that we wear more proudly is the fact that he lives here now. He's got a house here. His wife's from here. So it's more proud Wayne is calling St. Louis home. Yeah. But yeah, to call him a former St. Louis Blue just doesn't sit right with me.
Here's the thing with Gretzky is that I think there are a lot of Blues fans that, I think it's calmed down, especially since the Cup win and since Gretzky lives here. But for a long time, a lot of Blues fans blamed him for losing in overtime on the Yzerman goal because of his mishandle at center ice. It was a lazy play on the puck, and he lost it. Yzerman took it from him, and he 3 strides later, Yzerman scores. So, and there's a lot of animosity towards Gretzky because of that. And people, you discussion forums and whatnot. You hear a lot of F Gretzky's. So, yeah.
You always got to bring that goal up, don't you, Curt?
It is we talked about this. It's one of those things that's just burned in your brain. You can't get rid of it.
Yep.
Well,
true.
And then here's one thing that I'm glad that the NHL, at least I hope they learned from last year's All Star game. I don't know if you remember, but it is this round robin deal. The 3 rounds essentially, and they put the Pacific in the first round, and Pacific was out in the first round, and like a third of the barn left.
Yeah.
It was
I remember that. Yeah. You're paying a lot for tickets. Why wouldn't you stay? Those tickets aren't cheap.
There were some people that left after Central lost, though. So I get it, but I'm with you. If I'm paying for tickets for that thing, I don't care if the Central wins or not. I'm staying for the whole thing.
But at least they had the Central go second.
Yeah.
Yes.
Time.
Yes, I agree.
You're going there, and you want your home team to win and play well, and you're there to see, if you're a Blues fan, you want to see the Blues players play well. I get it, but you know what? It doesn't really matter if they win. So you're there to see the tournament superstars. Anyway. So the superstars. It's a collection of superstars in one place, and to leave early. Man, that's I don't know, man. That says something.
I don't get that. Zoe, would you have left early?
No.
Good. Good hockey fan right there.
She's a fan of hockey. We watch games. She's asking questions left and right. She's like a sponge.
Well, now let me ask you this: we were talking about Hurdle earlier. Gets 4 goals in his first game, basically, and also a natural hat trick. He scored the first one, but then had the 3 last ones in the game. Not even up for the MVP vote during the last one, which he actually gets the game-winning goal. And it's kind of like, man, he had everybody talking about him the night before because of the Bieber mask thing, had that going a little viral. Then he gets 4 goals. Then the 5th. Is this not this? Like, yeah, I'm all biased about Tomas Hertl, but just looking at the points and the whole weekend, how does he not get the MVP?
One of you Teal Town guys, I know, responded to me. I don't remember if it was you or Eric or the main account, but I said that. I said that on Twitter. I said, man, how does Tomas Hertl not just forget what the fans voted? How do you just not give that to him? Yeah. That was completely, again, like you said, he kind of warmed his way into St. Louis's hearts with the Bieber mask thing, let alone the amazing 2 games he had in the All-Star game to give it to Pasternak. I mean, come on. I mean, and like you said, to not even like have him as a consideration as a vote, that is ridiculous. I love what your friend Hockey Jerk here says. Not my MVP. I agree with you, Hockey Jerk.
I was just going to comment on that. That's perfect. Yeah, I agree. Everything you said. It did. A lot of things don't make any sense. It's almost like the people running the player safety were doing the voting. The decision was made. You're like, huh? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, when they threw it up on TV, like, here are the 4 people to vote for. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, that was.
I couldn't
not
believe
exciting.
it.
So let me ask you a question. Outside of obviously Brett Hall, Wayne Gretzky are household names in hockey, but in the skills competition, they brought out McInnes, they brought out Tkachuk, they brought out Bernie Federko. So for us, I know Curt, Bill, and I, that was just awesome to see the Blues alumni so involved. For someone who's not a Blues fan, you're sitting there watching the skills competition. Bernie Federko comes out, starts passing pucks to Pietrangelo. McInnes comes out for hardest shot, whatever. What was that like for you? I mean, did you look at that and say, okay, can we just get on with it? Or was it kind of cool for you as a hockey fan as well?
As a hockey fan, when I watched that, I was a little perturbed because I'm like, why didn't the Sharks do this? Like, I agree. How was Owen Nolan not involved in feeding somebody,
he's too busy making Roman Turok his B word. I almost said it. Almost said it.
You're learning.
His Beyonce. But yeah, how do you not bring out Owen Nolan? How do you not bring out Mike Ricci for something?
Pat Falloon.
That might be a little much.
Jamie Baker.
Yeah,
Arturs Urbe.
Yeah, Urbe, Baker. Yeah. I mean, and it's not like
Zoe. How about what other Shark? Which one?
Ron Sutter.
Ron Sutter. There we go.
Look at that. Yeah, that's digging into the archives.
That's good. That's awesome.
Jeff Friesen. I mean, there's a handful of guys that I think they could have brought out. So when I saw McInnes come out there, I went, oh man, because all that did was invoke memories for me of like, I'm like, God damn, Pronger and McInnes on that blue line. God, that pissed me off back in the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it just brought back some memories, and I got a big kick out of it. Do I think that McInnes hit triple digits? No.
No. No, not at that. No.
It's kind of like a folk story now here in St. Louis. We're all like, so many people are questioning if it happened. A lot of people are saying, yeah, of course it did. And it's like, well, then why didn't it register on the screens down on ice level?
They were off. The radar guns were off. The screens were off, and
the first shooter who came out, was it Seth Jones? His first shot didn't even register.
Didn't register because the thing was still off from before.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody forgot.
And it's just what a coincidence that 100.4 was the last time he won. That's what he shot.
And the whole thing is everything over that speed was going to be donated to charity, right? The 5,000 for each time or whatever. Yep. So it wasn't. They didn't want to have it be something 92 where everyone's going to beat it, but they wanted to make it something where a handful of guys are going to beat this. So it was comical to see all the wow, I can't believe he's still shooting 100, and
because he's not.
I mean, now
don't get me wrong, he's probably still shooting harder than I can.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Still.
But it was just comical to see that. You just go, yeah, sure, okay, that's hey, it's for charity, I get it, but give me a break.
McInnes even said in an interview that he had some help on the gun, so he admitted he didn't shoot that fast. So that should put it to rest.
Yeah. Hey, Jerk saying should have given McInnes Weber's stick.
That's the thing too. He pulled out a wooden stick. He shot with a wooden stick, didn't he? So
yeah. You know what's funny is at the end of his career, when the composite stick started becoming big, they actually did give him a composite stick in practice and said, try shooting with this bad boy. It's going to add velocity. And he went out. He had the full practice with it. He skated off, handed it to I don't know. Was he a Bauer guy? What was he, Curt? I can't remember. He handed it to his rep, and he said, and this is pretty well documented, he handed it to him and said, nope, I'm going to stick with the wood. I like it. And they're like, Al, seriously, you will add another couple miles per hour to the shot. And he said, no, I don't want it. I don't like it. And so
well, I just
think
would have
about it,
laughed
he
at that. Dude, you're going to add a couple. Dude, I literally own the record for fastest shot in the NHL. I think I'm okay.
People fear me still. I don't need to add it to 103.
You know, a slash with a wooden stick hurts more than a slash with a composite. So maybe that was it. They called him Chopper not because he had nice teeth.
Yeah.
He was a hacker, so.
Well, you know, and if you just tap, you know, Marcia Show on the ankle with a pen, he might go down. But anyway,
sure. Look at you picking on the Vegas guys.
Oh yeah, we're not fans. So yeah.
Man, hey, can we talk about Game 7 of last year's series against them?
I think we've done that to death. But yeah, I was bummed out that Hertl did, because you know what's going on with San Jose. It's like Couture was the guy who got voted in. He gets injured. Hertl was in the last man in vote. He obviously would take Couture's place. Has that great weekend, and then what happens 3 days later when he gets back? He is out for the season after tearing his ACL and MCL, and it's like, if there was any flicker of hope in San Jose to try to catch anybody for a wild card spot, that went right out the window. And boy, it's tough, and it's going to be real interesting, at least for me tomorrow, because I believe it was yesterday, Doug Wilson spoke with the media after a practice, and you know, obviously he had to discuss what was happening with Tomas Hertl going forward, what the plan was. He is scheduled to have surgery on Monday. Wilson is also going to be facing the fans tomorrow prior to the game versus Tampa Bay tomorrow night for his Ice Insight series that I will be at. I can't wait.
That'll be interesting.
Next man up for San Jose, huh?
Is that broadcasted?
Unfortunately, no. I wish it would be. I don't know if they're going to take video of it and then maybe post it later, or if they kind of save this as because they kind of sell it as a season ticket holder event. So maybe that's why they don't do it. But I really wish they would. Maybe I can like sneak in or like turn on the voice memo on my phone when I come in there and huddle up close to a speaker. I'm dying to hear what the fans have to ask, and I'm looking forward to his responses. I'm sure it's going to be rather cliche on a lot of these. You know, the funny thing is he was asked at, I believe, towards the beginning of the season, and he was just asked this week, basically, you know, considering the way the season has gone, you were looking at guys like Timo Meier and Kevin Labanc and Marcus Sorensen to all step up. You were looking at guys like Dylan Gambrell and Antti Suomela to take a step forward. There was a lot of expectations on this youth, not to mention some names that were coming through the pipeline, whether it was Sasha Shemlevsky or Ivan Chekovic. We were touted a lot of names like, oh, the pipeline just feels really good, and these guys are going to make noise in the preseason, and none of that came to be. And so because of that, Erik Karlsson's contract has become the whipping boy of the season. And the really funny thing is that he was asked at the beginning of the season, he was asked this last week, in hindsight, do you have any regrets? And he's like, no, I don't regret that deal at all. What the hell is he going to say? Is he going to come out and say, yeah, looking back on it, wow, did I screw the pooch on that one? I mean, really?
Can I give the people of San Jose the rest of my checks?
Right? We're just going to let the fans in for free for the final 30. And it's like, what else is he going to say? But there's been a lot of back and forth. I don't know if you guys heard Brian Burke on Sirius a few weeks ago, but he even mentioned that from who he had spoken with and from what he knew, that show me another team that let their captain walk. And, you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that actually let their captain leave.
Well, the Blues bought out one of their captains before.
But let me ask you this, though.
The Blues might be facing a situation with Pietrangelo. I mean, there's a chance he might walk. They let Hull walk. Well, he wasn't captain when he walked, though, was he? So.
Well, either way, it's just There's a few people, and Brian Burke brought it up that there might be a little dissension in the room. Some guys maybe not happy to see that happen, especially when they had taken team-friendly deals to make things work for other people. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see the way this whole thing plays out. We got another 7 years to do so. But I'm.
Hey, let me ask this, Zoe. What's going to happen to the Sharks this year?
I think they might do pretty good.
You think they might do pretty good?
There you go. You got a vote of confidence from Zoe.
You think they're going to turn it around and make the playoffs or not make the playoffs?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet? Okay, too much. You need more information?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh man, your commenter there, Hockey Jerk, says Bacchus. I hope you're not suggesting bringing Bacchus on board. I don't know if that's the right move for you guys.
Maybe Bacchus mean letting your captain walk. Maybe that was what the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Okay,
and
good.
that was a good move by the Blues.
It was excellent move.
Well, and I'm sure you guys see this too. The insane and inane back and forth where you've got the one crew that is like, oh my God, you sign EK to that contract every day and 10 times on Sunday, and then you have the other crew that is, actually in support of that, they're pointing at, look at what Marleau is doing. Well, Pavelski's doing, Pavelski and Marleau have like the exact same amount of points right now. And Marleau's, we're paying him a fraction of that because of the buyout with Caroline and everything. But it just cracks me up others, pointing that, look, if you look at what Don's going to, I'm like, asshole, idiots. They're not wearing Sharks jerseys. Yeah, they're not wearing Sharks jerseys right now. How do you make that comparison? It would like be, when Gretzky played those, 3 months in St. Louis. Well, how come he's not winning cups like he did it? Well, because he's not wearing an Oilers jersey. He doesn't have Messier protecting him anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, it's apples and like pumpkins. You can't make that comparison.
No. No. Yeah, Gretzky, no cups after Edmonton. So there you go. Came close in L.A.
Yeah. Yeah, if it wasn't for Marty McSorley, maybe they would have.
They would have been up 2-0 in the series, probably. So, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, well, see, that name Marty McSorley, I don't know if you guys are aware, that's a name of mystery here in the Bay Area.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So for the longest time, we had a very beloved color commentator by the name of Drew Remenda.
Oh, I love Drew Remenda.
Loves me some Remenda. He, after I don't know how many seasons, 8, 9, 10, whatever it was, decided to leave to do Hockey Night in Canada. And they replaced him with Marty McSorley, who, if memory serves, I think played a year and a half here at the end of his career. Wasn't a lot to write home about, but he comes in, he starts doing color commentary. Not the best. It's a little rough around the edges, but, could have used some reps in the minors. But anyway, comes along, and then I believe it was maybe it might have been like game 3 of the first round of the playoffs. All of a sudden, Drew is here, and he's doing color. And they said, McSorley, I'm filling in for McSorley, who has to deal with a personal something, or he's quote unquote on assignment, whatever the hell the excuse was. And we never heard from the guy again. and Drew just took over from and he was just back for the next season. And what's funny is we talked to Randy Hahn, our play-by-play guy. I want to say it was at the beginning of this year. It was towards the end of last year. It was sometime in the last year. And we said, look, we get it if you don't want to say anything. But, conjecture, the rumor, speculative innuendo has been circling for years. What happened with Marty McSorley during the playoffs? And he goes, well, boys, there's just certain things that stay in the room, and that's one of them.
Oh, boy.
God, we're never going to find out what the hell happened with this guy.
He didn't high-stack Hahn in the head, did he?
I would hope not. I don't know what happened, but nobody has ever been able to explain why he just disappeared.
See, there needs to be some investigative journalism going on to find out exactly what happened. Somebody knows. Some anonymous source needs to come forward.
Dude.
Well, I'll get on it.
Dude, I'd say if somebody gives me his contact info, I will be reaching out to him. You know who would get to the bottom of this? John Scott.
John Scott would.
John Scott would get to the bottom of this. Dude, you know what was really funny is John, I don't know if you watch his cast at all. He had, current Minnesota Wild, former San Jose Shark goalie Alex Stalock on. And they're telling a few stories. I'm trying to think if it was about Doug Wilson or maybe it was about Joe Thornton. And they might have even brought up the team owner. But at one point, John Scott said something somewhat impolitic. And the reaction on Stalock's face, like he's just sitting there, like this is my best Stalock impression. He just goes, and his eyes got really big, and he just looked over, and he was like he was sitting there trying to go, dude, I'm still in the league. Stop it. You're not playing anymore. You can get away with saying this. I'm still playing, so don't throw me under the bus, bro.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh, it's fantastic. So where's your cards, boys?
Oh, I actually didn't get one.
You know what? Oh. We were gonna get one on our way out, okay? Because we had done some other stuff, and when we went to get one, they had closed it down for they said it'll reopen in like an hour and a half. And I'm like, well, we were on our way out, and I'm like, I can't. We had to go. So we had maybe another 20 minutes or so there we had to stay, but that was so we didn't get it done. There was a couple of things like that too. They closed a couple of things down without just notice. It was yeah.
Well, see, my thing was again that we went the night of the skills competition, so we did a lot of stuff and we kept looking at the line for that, and I didn't do hardest shot either. And we were like, oh, we'll do that last. We'll wait till last. But the next thing we knew, it was like 6:55. It was started at 7. And we're like, do we really need to do that stuff? So I kind of wish we did. But at the same time, I mean, we didn't want to miss the skills competition.
Yeah. So last year, Stanley Cup. This year, All Star game. So what? Are you guys like hosting the draft next year and then an outdoor game the year after that? I mean, what's happening?
Winter Classic 16. And then the rumors, the Blues could have a shot at the Winter Classic next year, so I don't know.
Yeah, and from what I hear, the Seattle team is actually going to be playing here because of how well St. Louis has done lately. That's the rumor that it might be Minnesota, St. Louis, and Minnesota next year. The Twins Stadium, is that right, Curt?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Target Field, right?
I believe
I think so. Yeah.
See, I'm rooting for St. Louis to be involved in that Minnesota outdoor game. If it can't be Winnipeg, I'm rooting for St. Louis. It's hashtag anybody but Chicago, right?
Yes.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yep. And you know what's funny is we've said this on the show that people in Chicago feel the same way.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks, for one, they don't win the outdoor games, and two, it's such a production. It's such a weird break in the season that, it gets guys out of chemistry and they don't like it. Nobody wants it in Chicago anymore except the NHL.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those. It's nice to do be involved in once every 5 years, and that's fine. But Chicago, it's like, God damn, they've been involved in 5 of the last 7.
Yeah. And I totally get the league like you just said, Jeff, once every so often, because they're a high draw. They get great ratings, tons of fans. I get it. But I mean, it seems like they're in an outdoor game every single year, and it's just nuts.
It's funny because when the Blues hosted the Winter Classic, that was the talk was, well, it's probably going to be Chicago, and everybody here's going, why? Get Minnesota, get Dallas, get Winnipeg, get anyone else from the Central that hasn't participated yet.
Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville.
Well,
Nashville's
speaking of which,
the Blues' biggest rival.
What'd you think of the Dallas-Nashville one this year?
The jerseys or the game?
No, the game. See, I can't put a lot of stock into any of the jerseys because I'm just, I look at the ones from San Jose and the LA Kings, and what's funny is that initial reaction to those were not great, and they've come to grow on the fans as time has worn on. And I have a couple Stadium Series jerseys. I wasn't the biggest fan. I like the oversized numbers. I just thought that they could have been a little bit more creative. But the thing that's really funny is to look at the Kings one, because the Kings one from our Stadium Series is just putrid to look at, because it's just white upon gray upon a darker gray. It's just like the most bland thing. It's literally the vanilla of hockey jersey.
See, I'm probably one of the crazy people who say I totally dug the purple and gold for the Kings. I think
if they had worn purple
been,
and gold in our stadium series, I would have loved it.
I think that should be their colors personally.
Yeah,
I do not like the black and white. I think that is just way too bland. Yeah. And if they went with purple and gold, I would love that.
I disagree. Black and white, silver, best jerseys they ever had. Purple and gold, not a fan.
Oh man, are you kidding me? Hang on, don't go anywhere.
Don't y'all go nowhere.
He has to wipe out the blur for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still blurring. But I've got some old Kings style gloves, and it's not because I'm a Kings fan. I saw these at a hockey shop, and I'm like, man, I have got to get those. Those
if
are
the Minnesota Vikings played hockey, this is what they would wear.
Exactly. I love these things. I'm all for it.
I think the Kings have screwed up their jerseys more. I'm not talking about the purple and yellow. That was from a different era, but I think the Kings and the Flames, they've had some crazy jerseys. The Flames and their goofy stripes going everywhere. The Kings and their writing Los Angeles at the bottom and their purple, black, silver, or whatever it is. The crest with the sticks and the busyness. I don't know. I think they over design their jerseys quite a bit. And it bugs me.
I think I figured out my blur problem. So those of you watching can now see behind me the look of the gloves.
That looks blue and yellow. It doesn't see purple one to me.
No, that is definitely purple. It might just be the way the camera is, but that is definitely purple.
All right. Yeah, a little bit.
Dude, he's in an office that literally has nothing but blue and yellow. That's all he can see right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry, Sharks fans for the poster back here, but that is not a slight at you. That's just how we usually record the show.
Are you going to show them your hand pass paper? No.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I guess I could.
Oh man, see, and the back and forth. You have this will be like the last thing.
It's not the hand pass one. It's actually from the Cup Finals. So you might actually appreciate it.
I love that.
What a trip!
That's fantastic. It's a total trolling of Boston by the Post-Dispatch.
I'm free falling it here. This is a little tough. But yeah, that was the headline after game. Was that game 5, Curt?
Game 5. Yeah, I was in Florida watching in a bar with a bunch of Bruins fans, so that was a blast.
Yeah. That was fantastic.
That's where Sharks fans are at right now. Like we're for the most part we're hearing trolls on all different forms of media where it's like, the 5-minute major, Landeskog skate, the hand pass. This season is karma for all of that last year. And I'm like, okay. Enough.
It's funny.
It's funny though because out of everything that series had more stories and more things to complain about, or from Sharks fans and Blues fans than any series off the top of my head I can remember. There was so much going on in that series to discuss after each game. It was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Absolutely. And I'll give you
fun.
You know how you were talking about Zoe? Was it that Zoe did not like the container for the puck? Is that what it was?
It was a black metal container for the All Star puck.
Not a fan.
Yeah. I mean, it was it was okay. It was all right. But the thing, it was. I mean, if you take it out of the container and you display the puck, the container doesn't.
See, funny you bring this up because we have a super fan. He's in the chat right now, Steve Cropper. He literally, I think, every player with the exception of 4, every player that has ever worn a Sharks jersey and played in a Sharks game, he owns a puck that is autographed by that player.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Almost 30. In fact, they actually, Douglas Murray, you brought up Doug Murray earlier. Doug Murray and Dan Ruzanowski prior to the season last summer went up to his house just to look at the insane man cave that the guy has.
Wow.
So, but he is very much keep your pucks in the case. I on the other hand am not. So,
yeah, see, I'm like you.
Oh yeah.
I don't like keeping them. I mean, if it comes in a case like Curt has, I'll keep it there. But yeah, like you, I like to display mine.
Yeah, so you can see
that's nice. That's nice. I like that collection. They're very nice.
Yeah, you can see the wall behind me. It's like throw up my sticks, just put the pucks in between them. But of course, it would not be a collection without the goal in Game 7 in overtime against Vegas. We have to have that.
That's beautiful. Good for you.
That's what we hang on our hat on for quite some time. So
Very nice.
because I don't know when we're going to get back to the playoffs anytime soon, boys.
Well, let me see if I can pan here. He did ask her to show us the caves, guys. I can show you if you'd like. Pan around here. I got a lot of stuff in here. Let's see.
Yeah, that studio Curt has is beautiful. A lot of good stuff there.
Got some blue stuff up top.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Are any of the beer bottles on top of that case courtesy of Chris JWS by any chance?
There might be a couple up there. I got an arena brick there from the old arena. And
hey, Curt, why don't you show them what's on the far wall, the one that's blocking the closet?
Oh, I'll get over there.
Oh gosh, no.
Uh-oh.
It creeps me out.
You got to do it. You have to do it.
I like the ice bucket there from the '88 All Star game. That's kind
Oh, very cool.
Got some other stuff. This camera, the delay here is driving me nuts. Okay, there's my daughter. There's a big metal sign.
Oh, there it is, right there. You see that back there?
Yeah, it's a cardboard cutout
cardboard cutout of Curt Price.
That's not creepy at all.
You know what? I didn't make it. Not my idea, but it is what it is.
I am not going to lie to you. I went to his house for our last show, and I just kind of like walk in and walk down to his basement, walk over there. So I walked in, and he was, I don't know where he was. I guess he was upstairs somewhere. And I'm not even kidding. I walked in, I saw that cardboard cutout. I almost said, "Hey, man, what's up?" And then I looked closer, and I'm like, dang it. He got me.
Hey, AJ, can you read that banner there? Can you make that out?
Does that say the Buffalo Bills won a Stanley Cup?
It does.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, it's a found item, and I had to have it.
That is fantastic.
See it on mine too. We both have it.
Oh, that is awesome. It's funny. A buddy of mine, with the Super Bowl coming up this week, and a friend of mine had. I went into his, checked out his cave, and he had a pennant hanging up in the corner that said, "What was it? 1984 Miami Dolphins Super Bowl champs." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, dude, I happened to know somebody. Even though the Niners beat the crap out of them, I knew somebody that got their hand on one of these, kind of tucked it away because as we all know that when it comes down to that time of the year, it's like they got to be prepared for both, and then they have to destroy all those shirts that they made for one team, and we've all seen the meme where it's the little kids dancing, and they're like, hey, shirts get here on Monday.
I have some St. Louis Cardinal tickets that were for a series that never happened. That was kind of a guy gave them to me that because they had to have them printed, and they lost to Game 7 at 1 year, one series, and I have a couple sheets of those.
It's if the Sharks series with St. Louis would have went one more game. They were doing a series of playoff towels here in San Jose, so it's like a different player featured on each one, and of course it started with all the names that you would expect. It was Burns, Couture, Pavelski, blah blah blah. And had they had gone to Game 7 versus St. Louis, they had a Nyquist towel ready to go, but it never happened, so nobody ever saw the towel. Bizarrely, earlier today, I was on eBay. Came across somebody got a hold of a couple because they're selling them.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that is a weird decision for a Game 7 because he was a unrestricted free agent, right?
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's that they had gone through. So I mean, you had.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
The first two rounds went 7 games, and the Sharks were the host on both of them. So you've already gone through 8 players.
Yeah,
you got to get down the line because it's like you've already done Vlasic, Burns, Couture, Jones, Erik Karlsson.
I don't know, but why not use him sooner then? I don't know. It just seems like a really weird marketing decision.
No, I agree. They'd use LeBanc, they'd use Timo, yeah, it just took them a while to get down to it, but it was like, okay, we're Barclay Goodrow never got one. You think they would have after what happened at the end of Game 7 versus Vegas, but he never got one. Maybe, you know what? Maybe they were doing the Nyquist one to hopefully keep him around or talk him into it. Didn't happen. What are you going to
do? What if he got one of those?
You would hope.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, it was good talking to you. I'm glad you guys had a good time at the Fan Fest. And, yeah, those lines, I got to do something about that. That's
yeah, you expect lines.
We'll have to have a Florida person on next year. All three of us with a Florida person. See what they think about it.
Yeah, every year just get more like a big group podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm down with that. But
you expect lines of these things. I get it. I was not surprised by the lines. It was what it was.
Yeah, and I will say the people that were like quote unquote the keepers of the cup, at least here in San Jose, they were doing what they could to like make sure the line just like kept going at a pretty good clip. It was just kind of like, look, we're not going to take 27 different poses with the cup. It's like, okay, you get like, 4 quick ones. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, thank you. And off to the next one. It's like everybody got their like 5 to 8 seconds with the cup. So they did at least try to keep it moving. So it's tough to hear that those lines were that insane. But you know what, though? Maybe they were also more insane in St. Louis because at that, you guys, it's St. Louis is the home for it.
That's
right
exactly
now.
What it is. Yes, because we've had the cup here before, and the lines are always crazy. This was the craziest I've ever seen them, and I've been to a couple situations before the Blues won the cup where they had it. So it definitely, I think that definitely adds to it.
Well, and the funny thing is so I work for Cisco Systems, right? You can't be in the Valley and not work for a tech company, right?
Exactly.
So a while back, I don't know, probably 12, 13 years ago, whatever it was, Cisco signed a deal with the NHL. Don't even remember what the hell it was about, but I just remember there was some playoff tchotchkes in the Cisco store on campus and everything. And for one day, for like a 2-hour window for like lunchtime or whatever, from like 11 to 1, Sharky came with the Stanley Cup, took photos with people and blah, blah, and there were, I don't know, 15 people. Like everybody else was busy with work. There
wow.
were, there's like a handful of like people that worked there that were actually hockey fans that were even paying attention. I knew it was coming. I showed up in my Sharks jersey. I was all about it. But there were like maybe 12 other people that were as jacked about it as I was.
Wow. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
And hey, good for you.
Yeah,
for
nice
your
for you.
picture with the cup, by the way.
Yeah. Well, tech geeks. That's what I'm saying.
And it's just, a lot of people here, like Curt and I have had this discussion before the Blues won the cup, that, we took our picture with the cup before the Blues won. And people were like, why are you doing that? Oh, my God.
Because it's the goddamn cup.
Exactly. We're not, like, Curt and I are never going to actually win the cup. Even if the Blues win, that doesn't mean Curt and I are going to get a day with the cup. So when the cup comes here, yeah, we're going to take full advantage of it. So
and here's the deal.
Being in that.
Here's the deal too with that, is that if what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought completely.
So
never mind.
The cup.
No, it wasn't. Never mind. Forget it.
Way to go, Curt.
It was a really good point, though. I'll say that about it. It was fantastic, and this show is not going to be quite as good because I completely lost it.
We'll see it all on Twitter in about an hour when he gets it back.
Yeah, we will. We will.
You know it. As soon as the show's over, it's going to be like, there it is.
Well, thanks for joining me, boys. Jeff, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me at jponder94, and I'll go ahead and speak for Curt, the show account. You can find us at LGB Radio. If you're interested in listening to our show, which the last one we did talk a lot about the All Star weekend, you can find us at letsgoblues.com/radio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts, we're there. Let's Go Blues Radio.
Cool.
And I'm on Twitter at Curt Price, and everything Jeff said about Let's Go Blues Radio.
There you go. Thanks for
Instagram,
us,
Facebook, we're on there as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining another cast on Teal Town, USA, everybody, and we'll see you next time versus Tampa Bay.